I am so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The Real Real, the world's largest and most trusted source for authenticated luxury resale. I cannot tell you how obsessed I am with The Real Real. It's one of my favorite places to like late night doom scroll because you can always find the best pieces on The Real Real. They have so many brands like Gucci, Prada, Bottega, but obviously my bank account has limits, so I love sourcing The Real Real for new pieces. There are 10,000 new items every single day. They do their daily drops at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Real Real is the go-to place for your next special piece. If you need a dress for a fancy wedding, the perfect vacation sandals, if you're ready to invest in a bag to add to your collection, if you're looking for a very special, particular, certain gift for someone that like is only from a certain era, you can always find it on The Real Real. It's also the easiest way to sell. When you sell with The Real Real, they do everything for you from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service. So you can just sit back and get paid. Plus, with over 40 million fashion lovers on The Real Real, your items will sell fast. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/files. That's therealreal.com/files to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/files.
You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another unbelievably, like, just jam-packed, crazy episode. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
Scamanda. I don't know if we've landed on a name.
I don't like it. We're workshopping.
We're going to be workshopping it, but so much to get into. It's going to be a high-energy episode this episode. Susie is back with the household. She brought a very special friend, Dylan Nalbandian, with her. I know many of you already know Dylan. He's got a lot of great content floating around on the internet, and he's got some great takes he's bringing into the studio with him today. Mary's also with us. Also, I believe Carlos King is going to be joining us momentarily. You all know Carlos as a former Real Housewives producer and podcaster, friend of show, and we all just have a lot to say about the Amanda and West drama.
In West, yeah.
We also have the Age of Attraction reunion that premiered last night, and we appreciate you all supporting and watching. Lots to get into, so we'll talk a little Age of Attraction reunion. I mostly just want to focus on Theresa and John, obviously, if the rest of the household wants to break anything down. But we'll be talking about that. But this is going to be full-on Scamanda outside of the Age of Attraction reunion. We're going to give you exactly what you want, what you need. There's so many layers to this. I don't even know. My brain is scrambled eggs right now. It's crazy.
River was like walking on water yesterday, and I was like, Nick, watch River. And he was like, I can't. I'm on Twitter. There's so many new things coming out.
Nick was on Twitter. He was busy.
He goes, I'm working. I'm like, please,
I am working.
Shut
I was
up.
just like, yeah, this is work. What can I say? I've carved out a nice little life for myself.
No, you have. It's honestly the best kind of work, especially when it doesn't involve you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh my God, it's
Yes.
truly the best. Well, before we get rocking and rolling in all this content, a couple of reminders. Don't forget the Viall Files Plus is, again, ad-free. So if you want to listen to all your favorite Viall Files episodes without any ads, you can do that now on Viall Files Plus. Additionally, we have a reality recap deep dives where we dive deep into all your reality TV drama. We'll obviously give you some BTS on the Age of Attraction reunion. Obviously, the Weston, Amanda, and all of that. Like we'll get into the weeds, We'll get into the theories. Obviously, we will do it here. But if you are thirsting for even more, you know where to find it, and that is on Viall Files Plus. So go to viallfiles.com to sign up. All right, before we jump into Age of Attraction reunion, I will say, like, Monday was crazy because as Susie and Mary know, like, when we were talking about Wes and Amanda, we ended up, like, I think everyone just, like, thought it was a joke. We're recording this literally on April Fool's. Like, today is April Fool's.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then there was a lot of, like, this is going to be an April Fool's joke, and it just seemed so
I think especially
unbelievable.
because everyone like KJ and Carl and Lindsay, like all of these people were posting just like memes of themselves, which was giving very much trolling. It was
Yeah.
like,
It's a
we're
joke.
trolling the
Yeah.
fans.
You
Like,
had Wes liking
Yeah.
some stuff that seemingly confirmed that this was going on, and you thought, there's no way
yeah.
he's just going to be out there.
He's gonna be that bold.
this messy
Yeah.
in the comments, breaking it this way. But then after we got
I
done
mean, it's still
recording,
early
I
enough.
got a
Mhm.
couple calls, and I got a couple calls, and I was like, I found out Monday afternoon that it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard from a source too that it is also.
I knew,
real.
like, I
Yeah.
heard that there was going to be a statement coming. So then we just took, we honest, like, because like our take mostly was this, like, if this is fake, that's kind of like, this is not a funny joke. Like, you're activating fans in a way that's like going to be upsetting. Like, if this is a joke, this
Yeah.
is a really bad joke. And had to wait for the big announcement.
Yeah.
They did a joint announcement for seemingly a situationship.
Oh my god.
I know that is
That
crazy.
was so funny.
The
It's-
joint situation, the joint connection announcement, as I believe Vanita called it.
I started
but-
following West and Amanda yesterday, just waiting because I knew it was coming.
Mhm.
Well, that
Oh,
was
wow.
nice of you, because most people have been unfollowing them. So like you,
You fixed the curve.
I don't know
a
what I'm
little.
gonna do after this. but
Yeah.
I need to know when it was gonna come in.
You're locked in for the drama now.
Yeah.
all right. Well, we have so much to break down when it comes to the Amanda and West. But before we do, let's talk a little Age of Attraction reunion. Well, we are very excited to announce that we found out yesterday we are getting a season 2. So yay for
We are
us.
getting
Congratulations.
Congrats.
So exciting.
Maybe that reunion will be on Netflix. A lot of questions about why this one is not. And
Things above.
listen, it was a first season show. We only got 8 episodes. Hoping for more episodes. Second season, you know.
But we are very grateful for the Netflix team to allow us to produce, host, and deliver you the reunion, and certainly glad
Yes.
that you all enjoyed it. I want to talk about Theresa and John for a minute, because like I think that was like I think our favorite couple throughout the show. I think that was the couple. I mean, I certainly was most interested in finding out kind of where are they now.
I'm so curious.
For those of so
gosh,
like they seem to be somewhat on good terms, but like going into the reunion, you could like the cast is overall pretty close. And John is part of the close knit of the cast. And, Theresa, I think, is, a mom living her best life. I don't think she is as interested in the camaraderie that it comes with, like, we just did a reality
She works
TV
in
show.
fashion.
Yeah,
she's busy. She's like,
and I think with other people, there's like a kind of a summer, it's a summer camp vibe, whatever. A lot of the part of the reunion was like, did age play a role in your relationship not working? And to me, it was always interesting to hear, like, none of the younger guys were like, oh no, like, of course no, it's just like our communication, it was like, it wasn't the fact that I was a lot younger, but I was like, I think the fact that you are a bad communicator, is maybe you being this young is part of the reason. Like, it's like they never wanted to acknowledge maybe their immaturity in it, because like, if you watch the reunion, they referenced like this voice note, right? Where Theresa was like, I don't give a shit, talk about it. And John came in very much trying to like paint like he had all of the cast kind of rallying behind him. Like it to my understanding, everyone's heard this voice memo that Theresa apparently sent John. And it sounds like she was mad. And I think she came in real hot. And I think maybe she lost her shit. And I don't even think Theresa denied any of that. Right? I don't know exactly what was on it, but like, I think the rest of the cast heard it and they were all like, that shit was crazy. But my interpretation is this like, bro, like you played with fucking fire and you got burnt, and that's what I was trying to talk about when we were, I think two things can be true. We'll get into it with us and Amanda, especially when it comes to reality TV. Most people who join these shows, they want to go on TV. You know what I'm saying? Are they open to finding connections? Of course. Some people are more genuine than others. I think John and Theresa had a legitimate connection. I think there was real feelings there. I also think John initially came on for the clout, right? And then I think he dated Theresa and they fell in love in this bubble, and he was this supportive boyfriend, and he showed up for her and he calmed her down when she got activated a little bit in this world. And as Theresa pointed out, when they got out of this world, it's like he was a different person. And then she got made to feel like she was older by some people. And John's like, well, we only age is only going to be a thing if we allow
Him
it to.
saying like, I felt like I reassured her enough in Vancouver, and it's like no,
that's like your second week of
you're
dating.
also, it's still in that bubble. Like you're not even in the real world is what she's been so anxious about. Like that is where you need to step up and be like, hey, don't worry, my sister's not clowning you. I promise. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he completely shut down and was like, use that as an excuse and use Teresa's freak out as a justification to like end the relationship. And it's like, she warned you. She warned you that this is going to be scary for her. She warned you that she has had bad relationships. She trusted you that you could handle the required maturity that came with dating someone in the season of life that she is in. And he ended up just being a 27-year-old guy.
Well, I was going to say, I don't want to put a blank statement on somebody and be like, you're manipulative or whatever. But I do think when somebody has the emotional intelligence to understand how television works a little bit, hearing what happened afterwards, it's like he played his cards so well on camera. He's showing up for her. He's reassuring, he's validating. Like watching it back, I thought he was very kind and very reassuring. But a part of me was like, you're doing all of this on camera. And then watching the reunion to find out that he literally ghosted her. I'm like, that is the complete opposite of who you showed us on TV.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not even just age. To me, I'm like, that's a manipulative person. You're putting it on for the camera and then you ghost this person.
I will never forget because I was in here at the producer desk during the reunion, and when you were trying to get John to like when he just like couldn't speak,
he went mute.
He just like he went mute, and he was like, I like the gag that I suppressed. Because it's just like, say it.
We took a break right before we got to Teresa and John. Right before we started, John was like right to my left. And he was like, I'm just like, he's like, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling well. I'm like, oh shit, are you sick? He's like, no, it's just like a really heavy day. And like, I personally felt like he was trying to garner favoritism and sympathy from me, knowing that we were about to like get into it. And I'm like, so you're not sick, like, but he was kind of pretending to be a little sick. And it kind of felt a little, again, I don't think anyone needs to be vilified on this cast. What I liked about the reunion is like they spoke their piece. They confronted each other about like some of the ways they felt like, mistreated, but it didn't end in a way that was like, no one needs to be demonized. But I do feel like, it seemed like John did the classic thing that guys do where like they don't show up or they push or they know how to activate their partner. Their partner gets activated and then they use how they respond as a way is a justification for like, oh, like, well, if you're going to just freak out like that, I'm just like, oh my God, I told you.
Yeah.
Like, I told you that age wasn't going to be a number if you didn't let it and you are letting it. So I guess we should break up because like you deserve to be happy and I clearly can't make you happy. And like, what am I? It's just like, it's
manipulative.
Yeah. It's like you could try to make me happy if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's actually like not that hard.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, manipulative, whatever, but like it's very much giving, you are every bit of the 27-year-old man that you are. And maybe in some areas in life, you are mature for your age. Like when John kept talking about he's anxiously attached and he said anxiously attached 3 times in less than 90 seconds, I was like, okay. All right.
But then also I was like, well, were you anxiously attached like once y'all left the retreat, or was that only something that you experienced in the retreat? Because if you were outside, then like maybe y'all wouldn't have had some of these issues. He's saying like, how can you be anxiously attached to someone but also be like, sorry, I'm just like not really a texter. I just like don't really like
and
to
then
text,
ghost them.
and I'm busy. I don't talk on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
So like,
he probably has gotten TikToks that have said he's an anxious avoidant, and I think he's really leaned into that.
Yeah. All the age gap couples, I think it was like if the girl was older, we ran into communication issues, as it was called. But if the girl was younger, it worked out like a little bit better. I mean, not everybody, but I think in general, like there is in general in society, age gap couples, you tend to see like the guys older, the girls younger. And I love that in the show you saw a lot of women date younger men, but I was kind of watching like, and then in the reunion, I'm like, this is why it doesn't work.
Yeah,
and
because-
even Theresa and John coming back in and having such a positive relationship with each other, I was like, the only reason this is positive is because Theresa's so mature that she's able to come in here and put the BS aside and be like, you're a great person. I'm not going to berate you and talk down to you. Like, I respect you and I loved you, but like, that's only because she's mature.
That's a great point, Susie. Like, yeah, it's only because of Teresa's maturity that allows them to be civil. Because I think Teresa honestly has, I think, every right to be like, you played me. Fuck that guy.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
What also speaks to, I think, of how you guys said she doesn't really care so much about the TV of it all.
Yeah.
And she's just operating how she would like normally instead of amping it up for
Television.
the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Theresa, I love her. I told her that when like she like meeting her that light she has on TV.
Yeah.
It was just like when I met her, I was like, you just have that. Like,
Yeah.
she just is, I don't know. I felt very inspired by seeing her like on TV and stuff of just like, you know, it seemed like she went on that show really to do something for herself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just like really, really loved that.
Yeah. I just didn't like that John clearly had showed a bunch of people this voice note as a way to garner favor with the cast. And I think he did. But I think they're all discounting like For
the record, like every interaction we've had with John has been great.
Right.
He's a
Like,
fine guy.
lovely.
But I do
Totally.
think you need to point out that like if you are going to go on this show and you're going to lean in, you don't get to just be like, oops, we could have communicated better. I was like, yo, okay, fine. You're anxiously attached. How are you going to work on that so that doesn't show up in next relationship? And he's like, well, I'm just going to communicate better. It's like, it was just kind of giving platitudes and cliches. And like, you know, like, we are protective of this show in the sense that like you don't want people coming on and being disingenuous. And I think there was a little bit of that. I mean, you know, and the reason I want to talk about it is because like, you know, it's like when you're hosting the reunion, like we just wanted to give people a chance to speak their piece. It really wasn't the time to like to debate with them, you know, certainly ask some follow-up questions, but I think everyone else, I mean, and then Chris is word salad.
That's my guy, Chris.
What a goof.
He's so funny. I love him.
Leah was very, very, very gracious to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leah deserves every single award in the world for being as cool as she is with Chris.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how she does it. She's amazing. She's incredible. I am blown away by her.
Well, if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to go watch it. It's available now on YouTube. I think you'll really enjoy it, and we'll continue. If you have any thoughts, opinions, please share it with us in the comments, and maybe we'll continue to break it down next week as more and more of you consume the Age of Attraction reunion. All right, I think Carlos King is here, so let's bring him in, and let's really get into the Amanda and West of it all.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
If you are a homeowner, whether you've owned your place forever or you're a first-time buyer, you already know this stuff is going to break. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Many homeowners dealt with some kind of breakdown just in the last year, and without a home warranty, those fixes can cost thousands. That's why we're big fans of American Home Shield. An AHS home warranty helps protect your wallet from covered home systems and appliance breakdowns, no matter the system or appliance. That HVAC system that came with your home and has trouble heating the house, American Home Shield can help. They can help fix parts of major home systems like HVACs, plumbing, and electrical, plus kitchen and laundry appliances. And if a covered item can't be repaired, they'll replace it. Owning a home is stressful enough. American Home Shield helps make it a little easier. Listeners can get 20% off select plans today. Just visit ahs.com/Viall Files to sign up. See ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including service fees, limitations, and exclusions. Chime is changing the way people bank. Chime isn't just another banking app. They unlock smarter banking for everyday people. Forget overdraft fees, minimum balance fees, and monthly fees. Chimes turns everyday spending into real rewards and progress. Chime isn't just another banking app. They unlock smarter banking for everyday people with products like MyPay, giving you access to up to $500 of your paycheck anytime and getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Some old banks still don't do this. Forget overdraft fees, minimum balance fees, and monthly fees. Chime turns everyday spending into real rewards and progress. Banking fee-free plus overdraft coverage you can count on. It also can help you build your credit history stress-free. Earn up to 3% APY on savings. That's 7 times higher than traditional banks. It's rated 5 stars by USA Today for customer service, real humans 24/7. And now with the new Chime card, it's a new way to build credit. No annual fees, no interest, no strings attached. And if you are, in your early 20s or you don't have a lot of credit, this is a great way to help build your credit, which is not easy to do, but really important for you to do it. There certainly have been times where I wish I could get $500 of my paycheck up front. And now, if that's something you need, you can benefit from Chime. Chime is not smarter banking. It's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. It just takes a few minutes to sign up. Head to chime.com/VIALL. That is chime.com/VIALL.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and the secured Chime Visa credit card are provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/feesinfo. Terms apply. Limited time only. Must open the new account and complete qualifying activities to earn rewards. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1% APY applies. No minimum balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
I don't know about you, but I like to keep my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. Boy, that's something I think we all can relate to. It just seems like our cell phone bills just get higher and higher and higher. And it's like, what is going on? I just like I haven't done anything different. Well, if you're tired of overpaying for wireless service, make the switch to Mint Mobile today. Get high-speed, high-quality cellular and internet service for a fraction of the price that you are paying now. Stop overpaying for wireless just because that's how it has always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the largest 5G network. I just got tired of looking at my cell phone bill and seeing it was just like a lot of money. And then I was like, well, how about Mint? And then here you go. So much money I saved and the same great coverage. So I had great coverage, but not a great big bill. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/VIALL. That is mintmobile.com/VIALL. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options are available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. There's something about spring that feels like a reset. Longer days, fresh energy, and the motivation to try something new. Learning a language is the perfect way to channel that momentum into a skill that opens up the world. Rosetta Stone has been the trusted leader in language learning for over 30 years. Their immersive, intuitive methods help naturally absorb your new language. No memorizing random vocabulary list, and no relying on translations. Instead, you learn by connecting words, visuals, and meaning in context, the way language is meant to be learned. I don't know about you, but I find that even if you're not becoming fluent in learning a language, just learning a couple keywords when you travel has been always super helpful to us. And I think being bilingual is one of the coolest things out there. It's definitely on my bucket list to eventually take the time to just immerse a new language. Until now, I use it to help me travel more. But if you have ever been considering learning a new language, maybe you have people in your community who do speak different languages and you want to be able to communicate with them, check out Rosetta Stone. It's the trusted language expert with over 30 years of experience. Whether you are wanting to learn Spanish, German, French, Japanese, and more, Rosetta Stone has the language for you. Learn anytime, anywhere. Rosetta Stone fits your lifestyle with flexible, on-the-go learning. Access lessons from your desktop or mobile app, whether you have 5 minutes or an hour. Ready to start learning a new language this spring? Visit rosettastone.com/VIALL today to explore Rosetta Stone and choose the language that's right for you. Go to rosettastone.com/VIALL now and begin your language learning journey. Carlos, welcome to the show. We're really, really excited to have you join us to talk about, are we officially calling it Scamanda?
No, it has to start with West.
What are you calling her?
Well,
They're calling the whole thing.
the streets are calling it Scamanda.
The scandal,
Yeah.
The scandal.
which already exists. I feel like we need something new because Scamanda's already a scandal in itself outside of this.
People are calling it a Mandival.
Well,
Oh.
But I don't like that because it has nothing to do with Tom Sandoval.
Right.
It's just a similar,
Similar.
What's the thing
situation,
with
I guess.
Watergate? It's like it's not like everything was Watergate, but
Yeah.
once you have something gate, it's like that's perfect. But actually, one of our editors, Jack, and I put together a top 10 list, David Letterman style, of things we think this
Ooh,
this should be called. If you guys want to hear it,
Run through
I
them.
do.
So shady.
all
Yeah.
right. Which, for the record, just want to say, like, love Ciara down.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way,
I agree.
I ride for that girl always.
We're Team Ciara.
Team Ciara.
Always.
But anyway, these are our top 10 names for the scandal. Number 10, we have Scamanda Viall. Number 9, Amanda Viall. Number 8, Scamorama Viall. Number 7, Scamanda Batula. Number 6, West Wilscam. Number 5, Scamanda Wilson. Number 4, Scammer House. Number 3, Kyle Got Cooked. Number 2, West Will, son of a bitch. This is a scandal. And number 1, someone get Ciara a gun.
Oh.
Okay.
I like I like 2.
I think I like Scammer House the best.
Scammer House
is
I
good.
I
Oh,
agree
Scammer
though
House
with
is
good.
Dylan. The Duval is kind of irrelevant. With it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's Tom
It
coded.
feels so good to say, though.
It kind of flows off the tongue well, but it just doesn't have. Also, too, one of the main reasons I got into the whole Bravo universe was because of Scandival, and so
Same.
I hope that more people get into the Summer House. So if we name it Scammer House, it's like the immediate tie.
I feel like West Wilscam works better.
I liked that too.
West
West
Wilscam.
That was funny too.
That was a Jack Lewis original.
Oh,
I
that's
do
good.
think it's interesting that, all jokes aside, that right now most people on the internet are calling it Scamanda, and that it's focused
Mhm.
around Amanda. And I think it is,
Yeah.
to me, that the internet seems to be coming more for Amanda than West. And I think that's, Nelly and I were talking. I feel like that's centered around girl code being broken. But for the life of me, to me, West is definitely the biggest villain here in terms of,
Yeah.
he seemingly was most in control of, not letting Amanda off the hook at all, because it's fucked up what she did. But
Yeah.
you could at least be like, okay, she got out of a divorce, and I don't know, maybe she's not thinking
Exactly.
clearly. Where we're watching a
Yeah.
whole season of West lead on Ciara again, which is why when we were covering this season, I told you guys, I don't buy this shit. It doesn't feel authentic. But yet here is a guy still fucking with someone's heart, where Ciara clearly was just yo, this isn't nothing to me. This is real to me. And West clearly stating that he was in control of his feelings, where he's I don't want her to get hurt again, which I thought was just a fucked up thing to say at the time. But it really goes to show his mindset. Anyways, there's so much to get into. Carlos, what are your just general thoughts around what's going on, and what are the most interesting topics about this story that you are thinking about?
Well, look, I think universally, I agree with you, right? I think Wes is kind of getting off the hook, but so we need to unpack that. The biggest thing, though, that I am hearing from the audience as well is the fact that girl code is something that is so sacred. Female friendships, female camaraderie. And that was something that we saw with Ciara and Amanda. It's one of those things where girls know that guys are going to be guys. And it's sort of expected for a guy to be a tool, right? For a guy to be a douche, for a guy to be an a-hole. But when it comes to girls, it's one of those things where I do understand why a lot of people do feel like, Amanda, you did break girl code. At the end of the day, is this as big as what happened with Ariana and, Tom? No, because they were in a 10-year relationship and it was happening behind her back in the home. The shit was disgusting. This one is different because we were led to believe that this friendship was real. And if that's the case, for you to sleep with your girl's man, despite the fact that you guys are broken up, it's Amanda is the villain. Ciara is the victim, obviously. But West definitely is sort of getting off the hook only because the focus has been on the betrayal.
Yeah. And then I want to back up a little bit and discuss, I think a lot of people are talking about this joint statement, right? And there's not a lot of clarity right now. Are Wes and Amanda in love? Because Nell and I were talking, they have to get married. The only way
I
this
agree.
feels it's any way makes sense is
Amanda
like
has to be like, I know I ruined this friendship, but this was like, he is the love of my life. I'm pregnant with all of his children. We are getting married. Like, it has to be in game. This can't be something that lasts 2-3 months. Like, it can't be a situationship. It's just like it has to be worth it.
right? Because like, do we all agree that how this relationship plays out, West and Amanda? Because you know, right now we're overreacting. Right now, everyone's just like freaking out because we can't believe it's true. But like, and there's a lot of discourse about like, you know, people's character. Like, how could they do this? Like, how did this all go down? But like,
You guys, we have breaking news.
Oh, what's going on?
Summer House, this is reported by Page 6. Summer House star Wes Wilson was in an exclusive relationship with another woman when Amanda Batula romance was exposed.
Well, look.
So
it's not surprised there. He's a man.
Yeah.
But it is
publicly referred to as Montana Girl.
And I am sure that there will be several more that come out.
There'll probably be more. But like, but how this, if they ended up getting married and have kids and lived happily forever, it would be easier long-term to digest. But the fact that it's looking more and more like these two made a joint statement, like while being in a situationship and like not even being exclusive, it really gives it an icky feeling of like how careless and reckless and how much the mental gymnastics they had to do to justify how they moved, knowing that they were going to ultimately like fuck over Ciara. And in a way that like, Carlos, I know like you've talked a lot about just like these relationships on TV, the inauthenticity sometimes that they are and things like that. But no matter what, no matter how inauthentic and how close were Amanda and Ciara, like it's even to a coworker that was shitty, because Ciara over the years, whatever you thought about her and West or whatever, what she made very clear is that like when this shit gets aired, and we are all talking on the show, it's really hard for her, you know? Like it's just vulnerable to be on these shows and have people like judge your dating choices and things like that. And they played her for a fucking fool, you know? And it's just like, and she's not, but like it must just be hard to like watch even if it's not your best friend, someone who like is like cool with you, go behind your back and hook up with a guy that like you like have been vulnerable about over the years and like have talked about your complicated feelings about the situation. And the way they moved seems so careless. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around like how they justified it to each other, Wes and Amanda. And I also just like, the big question is like, why the statement now?
And I want to unpack that as a producer, right? Who creates shows, work on shows. I need to explain to the public that was strategic and there were more people involved in that statement, right? You have publicists. Let's be clear. The network had to, be involved in that too. Yeah. Because it is a hit show. This was rumored for over a week, approximately 2 to 3 weeks, right? Where we were sort of led to believe that something was going on, but everybody remained quiet. That is because a lot of people from the network, the production company, the publicist, the cast, they had to reveal this story in a way that was appetizing for the show, right? What we now know is this. I do agree with you. I think this was a situation shift. I think the joint statement was not to say we're together as one. I think they had to say we have one shot at releasing a statement and we have to be aligned with this. Immediately after that statement was released, the network said they have no intention of picking up cameras for Summer House, but it will get addressed on the reunion. We have to be reminded too, there's a spinoff starring Kyle and Amanda called In the City, right? So this is a big machine that we all have been involved in with our various shows. And that's the reason why nothing has truly been leaked. And the shot of Ciara allegedly finding this news out outside of Hermes in New York City. Listen, this is all for the attention that will drive the viewership for the reunion and the spinoff.
Yeah, I've heard that there are receipts regarding West and Amanda, and those receipts have been shown or gonna be shown to Andy, and it definitely will be discussed. I don't know if we'll see the receipts. I don't know if they're in a position to show us the receipts, if you know what I mean. It just might not be before television, but I believe that.
What kind of receipts? So, like, are there like photos?
Well, there was that rumored video.
Yeah.
Is In the City filming currently, or
I think
do we
they
know?
already filmed it. They filmed it back to back, right?
Yeah, that's already been filmed because it was filmed in the summer.
And is Ciara in the city, or is she only doing Summer House?
Amanda and Kyle are sort of the leads in this show.
And
Okay.
Lindsay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's going to be bizarre to watch something, because even watching last night's episode, knowing what's happening now, it's bizarre to watch that. So it's going to be weird to watch a whole other series
know.
knowing that Wes and Amanda have now been together. Like,
Right.
how are we going to get through a season of
Yeah.
not getting the tea on that?
Yeah.
I'm curious, Dylan, where, just as a big fan of this show and someone who's followed it
Yeah.
from your perspective, what are the things that you're most fascinated to discuss and learn about?
I mean, just after watching last night's episode, especially seeing how good of a friend Ciara is to
I
Amanda,
know.
through her about to get divorced, basically, it just shows how good of a friend she is. And especially since they just had that conversation at that restaurant about race, and like watching it back and how Ciara's had to deal with that, and Amanda not being as sensitive now to that shows she's not as good of a friend.
Mhm.
The thing that I think Ciara does that I've seen on the show is when she does like someone, she has a hard time, fully committing, and because she doesn't want to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard to watch, because I was kind of rooting for her and West throughout
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
season to
Me
get back
too.
together. I mean, now she's so much better off without him. Although she's hurt now, she's gonna be getting the Ariana treatment, I think.
I hope so. yeah.
And I mean, she already posted like a brand deal yesterday, or
Mhm.
with she was on the carpet interviewing for
Yeah, with John Hamm.
Yes, and
Number one Ciara defender, John Hamm.
yeah, and perfect timing. But
Yeah.
it's just it's. I wish if I was Ciara's friend, I would have told her earlier, like, go harder for West, just like
Yeah.
commit. Not that this would have changed anything, but
What do you mean by go harder for Wes?
because she's always kind of keeping him at arm's length, and if she
Thank God.
Just put her, showed her
now,
cards.
thank God. But yeah, showed
Yeah.
her cards. Not that this would have
Well-
changed anything, but before this happened, I was just watching like, oh, like if you like him, you have to go a little bit harder
Mm.
for it,
Yeah, but
Um,
Wes was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you watch this season back, he's just giving classic fuckboy, where it's just like,
100%.
he likes to flirt with her. It's a fun,
Yeah.
banty relationship. He likes that she's mean to him and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
he just treated it like it was a game, like it was
Yeah.
like this, like, and he does this whole like, sheepish.
I'm
I
in
don't,
love with her.
Yeah.
but like, I just
Then
don't think it
on the-
was never in West's like, it was never his plan to really pursue it. And like, then he played the whole like, well,
No.
I really care about Ciara and I don't want to do this to her again. And for him to be able to acknowledge that in his mind, there's no scenario where he's going to be sad if this doesn't work out, but acknowledges that she
Yeah.
could be, like, he's acknowledging how much power he feels he has in that dynamic
Yeah.
by saying that. And it's just like, I'm just, at what point did this relationship with Amanda start, is like a lot of people are questioning now. Because a couple weeks ago, when Kyle was getting drunk and he was like, fuck you, Amanda, or whatever, and we all like, oh, West, way to actually stand up to Kyle. There was a moment where Amanda walked past him and he kind of like put out his hand. And I remember being like, I don't know, maybe Kyle and Amanda are not on good terms, but like if a guy touched my girlfriend or wife in a caressing way, like there was intimacy in that hand grab that West had with Amanda.
Mhm.
That wasn't just like some like, hold on.
Mhm.
It was a
Mhm.
very
They shared
intimate.
a Remi Wolf sweatshirt.
Yeah.
They
And now
did.
you're going
Mhm.
back and you're seeing a lot of people point out that there seems to be this intimacy between Wes and Amanda that we didn't clock before.
Which I kind of have forgiveness for up until now.
Yeah.
But watching it, I was kind of like rooting for their friendship, because
Same.
I'm like, she needs somebody right now. Like, seeing how their relationship was so volatile. And I'm curious what Carlos's take is on this, because like watching it back, a part of me is wondering, like, do they know they're getting divorced while the season is unfolding, and they're just like holding out for this season to end, knowing that we've got a spinoff show coming? Like, do you think there's any chance that they kind of knew that was happening and they were just hanging on to the last little bit of this relationship? Or do you think I'm curious, like, how real it probably was.
Yeah, I mean, look, in order to drive viewership to a spinoff of this magnitude, you need the audience to enter it with something that they've been following. So, yeah, I think they probably did have some idea that this wasn't going to work. Not going to work. Let's slowly, showcase the sort of end of this so that we give people reason to tune in to the spin off and to sort of see how we're able to handle this. I definitely think that. I think Amanda and Wes were messing around for much longer than people are realizing. And I think
Mhm.
this, when it comes to reality stars, especially in the Bravo universe, it is like one big college. You know what I mean? It's like one big college. There's a fraternity, there's a sorority, and then those two mix, at a keg party. And that's why you see so many hookups, whether it's
Bravo.
Ashley Darby hooking up with people on Summer House. And, you hear all of these stories. Again, not making excuses for all of this, but I don't believe for one second that this is a real relationship. I think Kyle and Amanda for sure were going through something real, but I definitely think there's layers to this because as a producer, you have to tell the story in a way that makes sense for the finale, but also for the premiere of a spinoff that is taking your two stars on this other journey.
Yeah. We watched Summer House last night. It felt like I was watching a rerun from a couple years ago. It just felt so outdated with this news, right? And like here we are just like still like getting into the Kyle and Amanda divorce. It already was like we already knew they were divorced or separated at least. And so yeah, it was interesting watching it back. But now we see Amanda already in another relationship or situationship or whatever it is with West. And it's like that can't necessarily be good for, I mean, obviously people are going to watch Summer House, but they're not going to be watching Summer House for the show that they made. I'm curious as a producer, how would you feel working on this show, knowing that people are going to watch, but like no one's really going to be paying attention to anything else other than West and Amanda?
Disagree. No, The thing is this, Nick, you have to think bigger picture, right? Summer House is a popular show, but by no stretch of the imagination is it as big as Real Housewives. Is it as big as even Vanderpump Rules? So as a producer, this is a gold mine because the thing is this, you have your loyal audience that's going to watch it regardless, but you also have millions of people who has never seen Summer House, don't know what the fuck is going on between this Ciara, Amanda, West situation, that is now going to tune in to be like, I don't want FOMO, and I am going to watch this. It's the reason why, think about it. The statement was released the day the show was airing hours later. They knew they had to get this out because, to your point,
so true.
the episodes we're watching obviously is dated, but they also knew we have to get people hooked. I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. We're all going to rewatch other seasons, Nick.
Yeah.
To make sure we're caught up by the time the reunion airs. And I bet you the reunion is going to be the highest rated ever.
I was going to make the same point that he did about them releasing the statement on the day of the show. They know it's going to get, and it's the same thing I was saying with how I got into Vanderpump Rules with Scandival.
Yeah.
This is going to be what pulls people into Summer House, especially too with also just the more that Giggly Squad blows up too, with like Paige DeSorbo and Hannah Berner getting that TV show deal with Amy Poehler. It's like all this stuff they can watch from like the start of
Summer
how
House.
all these people are where they are now.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Do you think that they are going back and changing their edits for the next couple of episodes before we get reunion and completely kind of show us more of West and Amanda?
I think that's a huge possibility because the thing is this. Depending on when the reunion is going to happen, they do have enough time in post-production to add things in. Let's think about it. When Dr. Wendy and Eddie were arrested, we all of a sudden started to see more scenes of Wendy talking about how much money she spent on renovating the house. And hearing her daughter talk about, I got 3 phones, you know? So
Yeah.
yes, I do think there's a world to where you're going to see more of things that sort of lets us in on like the nuances that they may have found in those footages.
That's interesting you bring that up, Carlos, because honestly, for the life of me, and I guess what you mean by like how much the network was probably involved in releasing this statement, I'm pretty sure I've heard enough people tell me that like I think West and Amanda got like PR together, like they were getting like outside help outside of the network. But like Dylan, I think you were mentioning it, but like Amanda also the same day released this kind of campaign with this clothing/weed company. Like they posted like yesterday morning they posted this premiered it, and then they replaced her. And Amanda must have known that this campaign was coming out, and before thinking about the network, I was like, what in what world? Why would she not give them a heads up, or why would they release it this day? It was almost like do you think? And for Dylan or Carlos or Susie, I'm curious, do you guys, it just seems like they didn't realize or they underestimated the potential backlash, or maybe because it almost feels like they didn't think it was going to be that bad. I don't know. Because like, why would you
that's what I think.
release a campaign on the same day?
Or the campaign, the brand is diabolical for what they did, because to post her photo, take it down, replace her with a regular model or whoever that was. Like if I were an influencer or like Amanda or somebody like that, and somebody did that to me, like diabolical. Like you do not stand beside me. Like we're never working together again, which they're probably not working with her either. But I just thought that was such a like slap in the face. One thing to take it down, another thing to replace her with somebody else. I was like, they knew about it and they're like, great, release it, and we have a plan as well to amp our brand up because people are talking about it. But I thought that was so diabolical to Amanda.
It was also like the caption was crazy.
I think it was all strategic. I definitely think because when you have a scandal of this magnitude, you definitely have brands contacting your management, your publicist, saying, "What the fuck is going on?" And everybody's telling me how to release a statement, boom, 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 boom. I do think they realize that, listen, all press is good press. What we saw when Jill Zarin made that abhorrent comment during the Super Bowl and how Zarin Fabrics, posted a picture of Jill Zarin on their Instagram page with the X on top of it. To drive the traffic. I think all of these businesses understand the power of social media. So I do agree they knew this was coming and they were playing along with the attention that it'll drive. Because listen, if they did not do this, we would not be talking about that brand today.
But it does make me like sick to my stomach because I feel like this is just how it works. Like women just are always, regardless, going to get the shit end of the stick. And like, she did not commit a crime. Like she was a shitty friend. She did a shitty thing. And like, she's going to have to live with that for the rest of her life. And she's going to have to either try to like mend her relationship with Ciara or completely lose that friendship. And like, that's something she has to live with. But to like have brands pull sponsorships, like, and then you have Dakota from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. He just got a new reality TV show.
Yes,
and
literally.
It's like, how
truly,
it's
how
bullshit.
are these two things able to coexist and happen at the same time? Like West is going to be fine. He's going to continue to do his podcast and do his thing,
He'll
and
be a sports journalist.
he'll be a sports journalist, and he'll get his brand deals. But like opportunities are being ripped out of Amanda's hands, and it's like wild to me.
I think, I mean, that's true, but unfortunately it's just like, this is a nasty business that we're in, and the audience drives the sentiment, like the fact that we're calling it Scamanda and not something that's centered around West tells you that the internet thinks that Amanda's the Tom Sandoval. And I think that's an interesting discussion. I think we can hide. I mean, I don't see a world, again, to me, Amanda, I don't know girl code like, Susie or you do. And obviously that's an important thing, but like, I do have at least some grace for Amanda in the sense that like what she did, there's no justification. Like, again, like, it just has to be worth it. Like, it's the only way it better be worth it. Like, you better marry the guy, because now your character is in question of how you show up for your friends or how you don't show up for your friends. But you know,
It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out too, because
Mhm.
if like West, what I've heard, how the season ends or continues to go on just from online stuff is that West and Ciara do end up getting kind of together
Yeah, they
or
start.
like
it's
I heard
crazy.
they
hooking up
start
or
hooking up
something like
again.
that.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's like
no.
I'm hoping that it changes more on West and less on Amanda. Also, what you said earlier, Nick, is give her a little bit of grace. She just got out of this 10-year roller coaster of a relationship with a guy that isn't great,
Mhm.
and she's
Vulnerable.
getting back into it. What she did was shitty and messy, but
Yeah, like it no way makes it what she did to Ciara okay. It's just more like, to your point, Dylan, it's like you can at least be like, all right, so like, she hasn't been in the dating world in a while. Carlos, you know that like this once you're in this kind of reality TV bubble, like you just become, it's like you're in high school again. You have a hard time connecting with like people outside of your bubble. Like people aren't relating to your experiences. And so here you have Amanda, who's only known like Kyle for 10 years. It's been her whole life. And then she like, befriends this kind of affable, goofy, good looking, 6-foot West. And it's just like, I do think Amanda was a little vulnerable. And I think West took advantage of that vulnerability. Like, again, in no way lets her off the hook of what she did to Ciara as a friend. And like, I do think she's going to get a shit ton of criticism, and she deserves the criticism. But to me, West was way more in control. And I don't see how you give him any grace. Because again, like now we're hearing like all these other women are coming out of the woodwork, and he's just kind of, it's crazy.
He's a fuckboy.
Yeah.
I think what really pisses me off about West's positioning in this is that just because he benefits from low expectations, just because he is a fuckboy does not mean he gets to treat someone, Ciara, the way he has been treating her, of making an entire storyline on his show directed around this will they, won't they, this pining, this like, I might be in love with her, kind of like bullshit now that we see, just to like go around and fuck with her best friend.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can have low expectations for a man because at the end of the day, it's a man. But it's like there's a difference between that man being like like how a man's going to treat you in romance and like how a man's going to treat you as a friend. And like, you really just think that someone is going to be a better friend to you, and you really, obviously, you expect better from Amanda. And that's why Amanda's getting all the heat in this. But it's like, West, like, get fucked.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, are you kidding me? For TV, you see how she gets treated on the show. You see how the audience treats her. You see the conversations around it, and you still go ahead and do that because your clout is more important than your friendship with her. And it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, the beginning of every season too is West in the car up to the Hamptons being like, well, we haven't talked in a few months, but like I really like her. And it's like, well, if this was real and you really did have those true feelings, you do it off the show too. I mean, as a normal human.
Yeah.
You know?
Be a person.
Right.
But what is interesting, because I've seen people, like everyone's having this discourse about like, how does this compare to Scandival? And then you had other people wanting to downplay all of it, because it's like, if you're like an OG reality TV fan, like, and you watched Vanderpump from the beginning, you saw Kristen Doty and Jax hook up when Jax was dating Stassi. But like, what made Scandival so intense and garnered all these people's interest, and why I think Summer House does the same, is like, we're talking about adults. We're talking about 30-something-year-olds. Like, we're not talking about like 21, 22-year-old messy people. If you guys go turn on Southern Hospitality right now, they're doing this shit on the regular. It's like, it's a different cast. It's a different group. It's like, it's a really good show. If you're not watching, you should watch. But like, we're talking about a group of people who should be above this type of really sloppy behavior, and they should be more considerate with these like relationships and friendships. And the, like, when you get older, you realize that like, real friends are hard to come by, and you value that more. And so the fact that you have this going on with people who are in their early 30s, that I think that's what's so like fascinating for a lot of people, because you expect more from these people,
Yeah, and that's the reason why we always have to look at this through the lens of they're in a bubble.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not normal for the average human to sleep with their girl's man. It's just, does it happen? Sure, but not at the volume to where you're seeing it. And I wanted to get back to what Natalie was saying too, because it is a big point of contention on TikTok when it comes to how women are being dragged for making this mistake. We saw it with Rachel. Rachel hasn't
Mhm.
worked since, right? Tom Sandoval did a Fox, competition show, and he also was on House of Villains.
And Traders.
I was watching
And
this Oprah
Traders.
And
interview
Traders.
with the whole Coldplay scandal. And the woman said how she got fired. The company asked her to leave, and she understood that, but she hasn't worked since the Coldplay scandal. However, the guy
Wow.
has been offered 4 jobs. And it's really to
Mhm.
me a study of and the woman, the Coldplay scandalous woman, she said how she had no idea how much women hated other women in this scenario. And I do think there is something to be said about how women are treated differently when it comes to a scandal of extramarital affairs or any sort of like scandal like this, opposed to men. Wes is going to work and it's going to be seen as a hot guy on the cover of GQ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's because we just expect so little of them. I don't of men or West.
Yeah, he benefits from
Yeah, low expectation.
low
Yeah.
expectation. It's like the whole like idea of like weaponized incompetence with men.
Mhm.
It's like that's what West is doing, but with his like heart. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just like that's not an excuse.
No.
Like that is not an excuse to treat people poorly.
I saw someone tweet about this, and I told you, like, remember 2 reunions ago when the first and West and Ciara drama happened,
Yeah.
and West kind of clammed up, like very sheepish. He almost like didn't know what to say, had nothing to say. It was kind of awkward, and so much so that he had to address it post reunion. Like, what is he going to say now at this reunion? Like,
Well, he can have Amanda speak for him and make a joint statement.
Yeah. Or he does that all the time. I mean, even on last night's episode when he's talking to Kyle and like confronting them at the table, he can't look him in the eyes. He's always just looking down. He's like, always trying to do what he thinks is the right thing and
Mm,
very, I think, aware of how the audience will perceive
interesting.
him. That's my take on it. I
he
mean,
does spend a lot of time on those outfits.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, Dylan, Carlos, and Susie and Mary. This is just the beginning of how we dissect this drama and how we go back and what we question, all these people's motives. So, like, big question is, when did this start? How long has this been going on? We all suspect much longer
Right.
than we realize. Not too long ago, West started posting some political takes, which I thought was new
Mhm.
for him. And I remember saying to the team, I go, it feels performative to me. We live in a culture now that if people agree with us on certain topics, we will go to the ends of the earth to try to justify the behavior because we consider them like an ally, a literal ally.
and morally good. Yeah.
Mm.
And it just makes you kind of wonder, why did this guy a couple months ago start like spouting off his political point of view when you never heard it from him before? I don't, maybe that's a coincidence. I don't know.
It's not a coincidence. I think it's just that. I think, listen, we have to understand Wes is not alone in his home like the average citizen. He has a team. They all knew this was going to come out weeks before it came out yesterday. So all of that is a part of the strategy in terms of, do I believe he believes that? Sure. But
Yeah.
why all of a sudden are you now using your platform to address that? Because the thing was this, they knew that they had to do whatever it takes to make it seem like he's a good guy that made a bad mistake.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative that he and his team want to give us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm curious how Amanda's gonna. Carlos, I would be interested your take on like how Amanda is gonna go forward playing this because it's like she doesn't have the same like people are gonna forgive Wes because they expect
Mhm.
that from him, and we've obviously talked about like the misogyny going into the way Amanda's being treated, but it's like she still is on Bravo. It's not like a Raquel situation where she's just gonna kind of like go away, and she wasn't even that big of a fixture in Vanderpump in the same way that like Ariana and Sandoval
Yeah.
were. I'm curious, like, where does Amanda go from here?
Well, the thing is this, her reputation is stained for quite a bit. I'm just going to like lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
The harsh reality for Amanda is this, it's going to be a couple of years before people really start to see you outside of this scandal. The best thing that she should do, and this is what I tell my reality stars when they're caught up in a scandal, she has to own it. She has to own it.
Mhm.
She has to let us in on what went into this. If she kept this a secret from Ciara for so long and was doing this behind her back, that's fucked up. But she has to own it. There's nothing worse than people making excuses. Again, and not to bring up Jill Zarin again, but for Jill Zarin to say, well, damn, y'all didn't give me a chance to apologize. It's like, excuse me? You recorded it, hit upload, made a caption, and hit send. Like, I'm sorry, we're not giving you grace to make an apology. So I think for Amanda, look, I have never seen a woman go through this that came out of it unscathed but within 2 years. It's going to take more than 2 years, unfortunately, for her.
The reunion, too, I think is going to be worse on Amanda than Wes because Ciara is going to be like, I'm not surprised by you. Like, she's going to be way more hurt
by her friendship.
The friendship. Because
Yeah.
Amanda has overall a pretty clean slate, I think, from her time on Summer House. I mean, she's put up with Kyle, but I don't know, at least from what I remember, she's always had, like, she's come off pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is a big way to go.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Amanda, to all your points, is that Amanda is just guilty of doing some of the most triggering things that like women can do to other women.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point.
and whether we can sit here and say like West deserves way more attention and criticism, but the snake in the grass kind of vibes you feel, yeah, it's a bummer because you imagine West, if you're Ciara, you don't even want to validate your feelings towards West, right? Like, and I will say, like, I think what's not to say nice about the scandal, but this is not Taylor Frankie Paul Bachelorette scandal in the sense that, like, honestly, as fascinated as we are, it's hard to talk about. There's kids involved. There's some there's some people really struggling with some mental health problems. We're worried about the parties involved. There's a clear hierarchy of like who we have empathy for Ciara, who we're rooting for Ciara, who we're kind of debating the West and Amanda of who deserves more criticism. No one really cares about Kyle right now.
Poor Kyle.
He's DJing. He's fine.
At the same time, Ciara's already out there living her best life. She did that Friends and Neighbor premiere. It was this iconic moment. Yeah. We're all rooting for her to have an Ariana Madix treatment. We imagine she's going to. Her star is about to blow up. And so we can have sympathy for her, but no, at the end of the day, she's going to be okay. And I think we're all kind of rooting for her to be unbothered.
Yeah.
When it comes, because it's one of those moments where you fuck around with someone, you don't know why you keep giving them attention, and then something happens when you go, you know what the fuck was I doing? Like, what am I, this is, this, I should have known better. Now I see it fucking clearly. But with the Amanda of it all, there's just so much more for Ciara unpacked. And I agree with you guys. I think it's just like, it's just going to make more sense for her to be harder on Amanda because why give West that attention?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really feel for Ciara because it's like, obviously she is going to be okay.
This is going to be a blessing in disguise at the end of the day.
Yeah. And as far as her career is concerned, this is the best thing that could happen. As far as her heart is concerned, I think a lot of us have been in situations, obviously not on TV, but your friends don't show up for you in the way you want to in those situations and you get fucked over.
Yeah.
And it's just for Ciara to be kind of stuck in this world where she's still working with them. She still has to see them. She still has to have chemistry with all of these people. It's not going away. She can't go away from it. She has the off season, thank God, to kind of process this. But it's she's coming right back and just has to go back into this environment and there's nowhere for her to go. And I just Amanda was an emotionally safe person for her in that house. And it just it just sucks that she doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to her for that.
I think Nick made a really good point about, you said something about how Amanda did the one thing that kind of triggers people. And I feel like what you're saying as well, how as viewers, you become so emotionally invested while watching, because I think so many of us have been in that position where you like somebody and they lead you on a little bit, but they're actually never taking you serious. Yeah. And to be betrayed by somebody that has been there for you, shown up for you during that time and kind of been the pat on the back, it's going to be okay, you don't deserve this, or, supporting you. And then that person betrays you. I mean, it is a very unique scenario, but also so common.
It is,
and it's the most volatile feeling when you're experiencing it, and the hatred and the disgust you feel for honestly not the person who's been the guy, or, you know, in my case, it would be like the guy. Like, you kind of expect it. You're like, you're a douchebag. I don't know why I was so into you, but like, you're my friend, and you were like petting my head when I was crying drunk on the bathroom floor about it. Like,
yeah, it's like you're mourning the friendship, not the like crush.
Yeah.
Right,
You know? 'Cause
exactly.
Yeah. It reminds me of the thing I say all the time, like when it comes to loyalty. Loyalty is one of those things that everyone says they are. You know, like, are you loyal? They're like, oh, of course. Of course I'm loyal. Like, why wouldn't I be loyal? But as you get older, you learn that there's very few people in your life that you can assume they're loyal to you. Like, they're loyal to you until like it's a conflict of interest. Like, they're loyal to you until you like the same person. They're loyal to you until it's just like, well, you know, like, I can't support this type of behavior, you know, whatever it is. It's just so easy for us to justify why we shouldn't be loyal in this moment. And usually that comes down to like, you know, different agendas, or, you know, when our interests don't align anymore. And I think this is a perfect example of like why loyalty is far rarer than people like recognize.
I think Ciara's intuition is really strong too overall, which is why she kept West at the arm's length. And, you know, she never would have seen this coming from Amanda. So
oh my
it's
gosh. To have someone pull one over on you, like when I think back to the last time I was cheated on, which was several years ago, but it came at such a shock. But this is very similar, where I agree, unless Ciara knew, but I agree. I don't think she saw it coming. But to have somebody literally pull one over on you, it is such a disorienting experience, and it makes you question your own like ability to read a situation. And coming from a friend, it feels so much worse than coming from a situationship. I don't know why, but it's like so much more painful and scary.
You know, your friends are supposed to be forever. These guys, you know, are kind of come and go.
Who do you think made the first move?
Ooh.
I think West.
West
for sure.
West.
Yeah. I think West like knew that she needs a nice guy in the moment, and Amanda got like the nice attention that you know she's been craving that Kyle was not giving her. And that's also why like I said, give Amanda a little bit of grace. I think she's getting played a little bit.
Yeah, you're right.
And to hear that he's in a relationship.
When you say it like that, Wes had a front row seat to like seeing what Amanda needed to feel comfort and support and validation.
He was chasing after her like the last couple episodes when Kyle yelled at her.
And so for this to go down this way, it gets ickier and ickier the more you think about it, because again, not okay that Amanda, from whatever she said to Ciara behind either on camera on her interviews or behind closed doors, that made Ciara feel like Amanda was a friend she could trust. That's fucked up, and she's gonna have to like deal with that. But if this is like Wes making the first move, and he has a front row seat to like how Amanda needs comfort, and he gives her that comfort in a way that like crosses a line of intimacy, only for Amanda to be left as the one who's the most vilified, and he kind of gets away kind of clean. It's ugh.
Yeah.
You know, I doubt you're going to have a lot of men come forward being like, I was also hooking up with Amanda when this was going on, like we're hearing about.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think she plays that way.
Yeah. Is there an opportunity to give a little bit of sympathy for Kyle in this moment?
Sure.
I think there is a part of me, I think I was like, I don't know if I was hard on him a few episodes back, but watching it, I was like, he's such a dick. And like, I didn't actually say that, but I think that was like the sentiment of like, yeah, of course Amanda's acting this way. Like, you've been treating her so poorly, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, seeing last night's episode and hearing the stressor of like millions of dollars on the line. I've never had millions of dollars up against my name. And not that it ever justifies treating your partner poorly, but I think we've all, like, I know that I've been in a situation where I've had high stress and I've like taken it out on my parents, and I feel so guilty and so awful afterwards because I'm like, you don't understand. And you just like, you get a little bit sassy or whatever, but I can't imagine being in his position. I'm not justifying how he's treated her, but I do feel like he's like completely out of the conversation. And I do have like a lot of like sympathy and empathy for him after hearing the financial stresses of Loverboy, and now hearing like that is his wife, like that is his ex-wife that is hooking up with one of his best friends. And that also is very heavy along with everything going on with Loverboy.
What do you think, Dylan?
My thought on it, I think everyone deserves like respect. So I feel for Kyle in the moment. If he hadn't had all these rumors about him cheating with on Amanda, like I would have a little more sympathy for him.
That's true.
I also think Kyle's out of the conversation because he hasn't said anything. I think it takes if he wants to start playing into it, I think he would be more involved.
Fair.
But I do understand what you're saying as well. Kyle is his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with that, Dylan, to the extent that, like, as it stands now, from what we know from watching the show or what they've said or not said, I'm not like out there being like, how's Kyle? I guess is what I'm trying to say. And like, yes, you know, like,
I'm worried.
now if there's more to the story
Yeah.
that Kyle
Yeah.
adds context to, it's not going to make what he said okay, but there might be a lane where you're like, oh, well, like, fuck, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, everyone has their limit, you know, type of thing, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And, you know, like, so I saw a tweet basically saying something like, oh, Kyle saying fuck you to Amanda after, like, she chose to, like, keep hanging out with Wes that night, like, hits different now. And now, again, like,
Yeah,
does.
it's
if
so
Kyle was
true.
suspecting something else going on then, and maybe if they were hooking up then, like, literally behind his back and in front of his face, I guess then maybe. But I don't think it would be smart for Kyle to in any way justify his behavior as
I agree.
as a result of what Amanda did or didn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for Kyle in the way that he's about to be a level of divorced guy
Mhm.
that we have not seen on Bravo in a minute. If it was me producing Kyle Cook, I would say lean into that. Because like he needs to be DJing Steely Dan. He needs to be he needs to be less like club guy and more just like, well, the consequences of my actions. Darn, let's keep going. Like I think that's how like Kyle wins back kind of like some sort of public
Right.
sort of
Empathy.
empathy.
Yeah.
Support.
He needs
Yeah,
to learn
is just
how to-
being like, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is the best thing that could happen to Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Kyle has a big opportunity to change the narrative in terms of how he's viewed. And to have this sort of, I hate to say the word, but to have this gem fall into his lap in order to now take this and sort of like appear to the audience as a man who is owning his mistakes and what he did and what would make him win, honestly, if I was Kyle's producer and this was shock the world, I would encourage him to sit down with Amanda and to give her grace. Like that would
Yeah.
shock everybody. You expect him to be upset and angry, but I think if he says, I wasn't the best man for you, and perhaps
Mhm.
in your need of support, this man took advantage of you, not of course sexually, right? But just took advantage of your
Right.
emotional state. If he's able
Yeah.
to sort of articulate it that way and take ownership there, I think Kyle has a lot of room to
Yeah.
be viewed as the audience as somebody that they will support.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's maybe already starting to do that because he was on Watch What Happens Live not too long ago. And Andy asked him straight up, do you believe these rumors? And Kyle was like, I don't think they're true. And then Andy's like, but if they're true, how, like, what will you think? And basically Kyle said, like, you know, I'll support Amanda.
Wow.
He's already kind of following your advice, Carlos. So I think that's probably,
Hey, he listens to Reality with the King too.
there you go.
Yeah.
He's a raindrop.
I did see something
Yeah.
I thought was hilarious. The butterfly effect of Kyle Cook's DJ career. Because like they probably get divorced anyways, but if he doesn't become a DJ and he like changed his course and decides to become a good husband, like this scandal might not ever happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is there is a thing with Kyle where it's like, yeah, this is kind of like the content. Like he basically, you kind of see it in the show, and maybe it's the edit, but it seems a little bit like he's kind of like driving Amanda into West's arms.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Because Jesse's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, out of
Like-
all this, I'm just happy it isn't Jesse because I couldn't do more of the
Mm.
Jesse of it all. Like I see him enough on the TV that if this was a scandal and he would be writing songs, it would just be like,
Oh my
it'd be too
god, he would
much.
be in the studio. I saw a tweet that was like, Jesse Solomon, you need to get out of the studio and in with Amanda so Ciara can know peace.
I saw something that said at least Jesse asked permission.
That's
I saw that
That
too.
was crazy.
yeah, there's
yeah.
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 But again, it's just like, I just hope Ciara can come out of this being like, fuck these people. you guys are not my true friends, obviously. Like, I am a person. I am not just a prop for you guys to, like, have all of your situationships
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it feels like. And she just deserves so much better than that
She
from people who
does,
care
yeah.
about her.
And that's the tough position she's in, right? She is a character on this show. It's part of her job to kind of lean into these narratives. You know, again, like we talked about it with the Taylor Frankie Paul. Like there's sometimes things that as reality TV stars, we're like, fuck it. Fine, sure, I'll do it. I'll take it for the fucking team. I know I'm going to get a little bit of heat. I wouldn't normally do this. This is not who I am, but I'll fucking do it. And for the most part, it's mostly inconsequential, right? But to the degree that Ciara has been a team player, only for this to result in her being played, and she's not a fool, but like I think people made her out to I'm sure she feels that way right now, where she feels like she should have known better. She feels like she should have not trusted certain people. And that just, you feel like that ego. It's just that it feels foolish, right? And like we've heard from Ciara in the past about like what bothers her. And she is like rightfully like, she has a lot of pride in how she carries herself, and how she moves, right? And the thing that she seemed most upset about Wes in the past is like how he went out in the public and like spoke on her name in a way that was just like, I don't do that to my friends, right? And so I feel like the people she's calls friends or even her coworkers are moving in a way that she doesn't move, and she's communicated like that's not how I roll. And it's like they haven't respected how she's communicated that, and now she probably feels like foolish for trusting these people in a way that like we would all feel foolish if we were in her position.
Yeah, and that's what makes her so relatable. Listen, Ciara deserves, if not more, the same success Ariana got, right? Because, the thing is, she spoke about race recently on the show and really, was honest about her experience with the cast and how the Bravo audience, which we all have experienced, the Bravo fan base, good or bad, right? They are extremely opinionated and they won't stop until they feel like they got your attention. So she has suffered through a lot of emotional turmoil outside of this scandal, right? She was already going through something that we saw on the show. And that's the reason why, for me, she deserves so much success in the sense of she has the ability to truly tell a story, not only of girl code, not only of douchebag guys, but also being a Black woman on reality television and how the audience perceives you, and then to deal with this. So my hope for her is the fact that she's able to really take this and really make something out of this and be a spokesperson, get brand deals, be a brand ambassador. She's gorgeous to look at. She's so
Gorgeous.
smart. And I just think she has the ability to really be one of the mainstays on the network.
Yeah, no, I
Agree.
agree with all that. It is crazy that you already start seeing the internet trying to justify how to minimize Ciara being upset. It's just like, oh, well, like whatever, they dated 3 years ago or blah, 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 blah. Like that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I think she is going to be a huge star. I think this will, and that is because she obviously has the qualities of a star, right? And like Carlos, there's a lot of people who have star qualities and it just doesn't work. It doesn't pop for them, right? Like sometimes it's a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of timing, and then at the end of the day, you have to have the talent.
She also know who she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's just easy to root for. Dylan, I'm curious, what are some of the things I'm sure this we'll continue to talk about this, the reunion's coming up, but what are some of the things that you're most curious in learning more about as this story unfolds?
I mean, definitely seeing how they do edit West and Amanda for the rest of the season. I was going to say earlier, like they kind of set it up to make it look like Ben was going to be the one that was to sweep Amanda off her feet. And obviously that isn't the case. And now we're seeing Sabrina, who just kind of is the girl that I think he was always on. Like, I think they were already talking and he kind of played it to the camera that he was single. That's my opinion. But I do think just if more gets revealed of when West and Amanda really got together could play a big role in how the long-term effects of Amanda, especially. I mean, I want West to get more of the bad rap from this, but is it going to happen? I don't know. for Ciara, this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I know there's been a lot of discussion at who's going to be the next Bachelorette, and I think this could be
Ooh,
a possible.
slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mara Higgins has been in talks about it, but I think Ciara would be the perfect person because she just seems to be level-headed, and I think to be a lead, you have to. I mean, you see what happened when you had Taylor Frankie Paul,
Mhm.
and I don't know if they're going to take another risk like that. Now, I don't know if ABC and Bravo would tie, but
There's no way.
no.
You don't think
mean,
so?
I was going to say the same thing.
Bravo is not. NBC is not like that. Like right now, Ciara is their. I mean, she is so valuable to
true.
them right now.
They're
why
not gonna
would they
let her
give?
go.
why
They're not
would
gonna
you-
give her any.
Yeah. As a viewer, I want
Yeah,
to see it.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing. It's fascinating as fans to think about it, but then we get into the contracts. Ciara's contracts with NBC, they have the
Yeah.
rights to her. They would have to give, Disney the
That's so
permission.
crazy.
Also,
know.
like, to be honest, if you're Ciara, like, you don't need that shit. What you want?
No, she doesn't.
You
That's
want a
true.
bunch of casting directors cast a bunch of like fucking guys for her that like maybe she's into a couple and then have to deal with the nastiness that is Bachelor Nation. Like that's the last thing I want for Ciara. I know as fans, I think she would be a fantastic Bachelorette. I mean, honestly, like what you know
100%.
about what we love about our Bachelorettes, like Ciara would be fantastic, but like there's just no
Yeah.
world in which that would or could happen. And honestly, I wouldn't want that for Ciara. She
I
doesn't
actually
need
totally
it.
hear that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be casting people at her level,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I think that Ciara should host a reality show where it's a bunch of like douchebag guys getting their comeuppance. Maybe it's pies in the face. Maybe it's like they have to publicly embarrass themselves. It's like people that have gotten called out for cheating. Maybe it's other reality
Yeah.
stars.
Oh.
And they have to compete for redemption. And Ciara
Wait, I love
hosts
that.
it. That's my pitch.
Sick and twisted. I like it.
Peacock, come talk to me.
Good pitch.
It would, it is fascinating to think about how much if Amanda did, and if it was Ben she hooked up with, we would be
Everyone
celebrating.
would cheer.
Everyone would cheer,
Yeah.
I know.
and it's like makes you just wonder, like, what was like. That's the thing. Was it worth it? Like, I mean, like, I'm not trying to like bash on West here, but like, why, of all the people, like that was
I
the one
know.
person that was this was gonna blow up in your face.
I really don't think they saw.
How bad it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if their friendship really was that special. Like, devil's advocate, I'm like, he really was showing up for her, at least in this season, from what I'm seeing. He was that person that was always kind of sticking up for her, being there for her. And if she was vulnerable, I can see how that would be really confusing. If you're like finally coming out of something that's super bad for you, really toxic, you've been struggling for years, and then you're like, here's this. If it weren't your husband's also good friend, I could see how you would fall into that trap of like, well, he's my guy best friend, and like he's always been there for me. Like maybe he's the one. Now knowing that he's been seeing other people,
I mean, I
making
think
you
we
look like a
can
dummy.
clearly, safely assume these people were not as close as they let on in real life. These were.
You don't.
This was
You don't
show
think so?
business, not show friends. I think. I just maybe again, they are friends. They're also coworkers, and all I'm saying is like
Yeah.
I think this is such a crazy. I mean, the fact it's just like these are adults who are like wife swapping. I mean, you just like not since
Yeah.
high school have I been like, you know what? Maybe I find my buddy's ex. It's like it's such a high school thing
Yeah,
to do,
that's so true.
and it's just like
Especially when you live in New York City.
Right.
Yeah.
right. And again, so like you clearly Amanda and West had to do these like mental gymnastics to justify it, right? And while I'm sure they're friends, at some point they had to been like, well, I mean, it's like I only see Kyle when we film at the they must have sold themselves on the passion or the I don't know, whatever they felt by the wrongness of it all, and then they had to been like, like maybe Amanda was like, I'm friends with Ciara through Paige, like they're just not as close as I think we believed.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I mean, it is very much like it's giving a coworker situation. The only thing that now though I do question is just Ciara seems to know a lot about the relationship of Kyle and Amanda, which I think they're only getting told off camera when they hang out in the city because we never see Amanda and Ciara really talk in
Okay.
depth about. So I think they became friends through the show, but maybe Amanda also just didn't value that friendship the same. I mean, clearly she didn't, but
Yeah.
No.
Ciara, I do think really valued Amanda's friendship.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, we're just at the beginning of this, and there will be
I know.
so
we
much
could
more
talk
to
for hours
unpack.
about just this.
Carlos, Dylan, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Carlos, especially you for jumping on last minute. Dylan, it was great to have you on. Please come back as
I would
we,
love to.
whether it's talking Housewives or even more about Scamanda or whatever we decide to call it. I do apologize. Nelly had to step out. I'm honestly not entirely sure, but I think she got some bad family news. So keep her in your
Oh, no.
in your
Okay.
thoughts. I appreciate you guys coming on. Susie, as always, Mary, it's great to be with you guys. Dylan and Carlos, before we let you go, can you guys let my audience know where they can find you and enjoy all the great content that you're making?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all Dylan.Nalbandian. I post funny little skits and sketches.
And how about you, Carlos?
Yes, you can find my podcast, Reality with the King, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, my YouTube channel as well. And I'm on all social media platforms at @TheCarlosKing_.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having this very interesting conversation, and I'm glad we had the two of you to help us with this. We'll appreciate you all listening as well. Don't forget to check out Viall Files Plus if you haven't already. We will certainly be diving even more deep into Scamanda or whatever the fuck we're gonna call it. We will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.